السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
اللهم إنا نسألك بأننا نشهد أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الأحد الصمد
الشيخ سبيك دعاء سي آمين إن شاء الله.
تصلح لنا في ذرياتنا إنا تبنا إليك وإنا من المسلمين أن تهب المسلمين منا للمحسنين أن تحملنا أن تأخذ بنواصينا إليك
آمين. In the last few lectures, we talked about Isa alayhi salam and the right belief in him and Jesus and the best peace and blessing on him. And today, inshallah, we're going to conclude that topic about this subject. We're going to talk about some of the things that some people added, some of the doubts that people put on him. And they try to distort the religion of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the religion of Islam, the religion of people. And it is about the most dangerous things about the central belief, center of our belief, the core of our belief, which is monotheism. When they claim, when the people, the false, claim that the Quran talked about that Isa is a God, or it or indicated the Trinity, and supported, or that they claim that the Quran talked about the Trinity and accepted it. This is all false. We're going to discuss this, inshallah, in this lecture. We'll go in details. We have mentioned in some of these false claims, when they claim that the Quran, when it says that the Isa alayhi salam is the word of Allah, they claim that he is a God. No, he is not. It's really amazing how they claim it came in stressing that Isa is not a God, and look at the ayah, listen to it, and contemplate. Oh, people of the book, do not go to the extreme in your religion and don't claim on Allah except the truth. Indeed, means Isa is a messenger of Allah and his word that he sent to Maryam, and spirit from him, and believe in his messengers. Don't say Trinity. It's only one God. Praise to him. How could he have a son? He has everything in heavens and earth, and it is enough for Allah to be supported. The Isa cannot, the Christ cannot be, can't stop or mind being a servant to Allah, a slave to Allah Azza wa Jal. So stop before a big punishment comes to you. Punishment hits you. So Allah is written on that he is a human being, that he is not son of God. He is not part of one of three. Allah, from the beginning to the end of this ayah, and the ayah after that, for beginning to the end, is stress on the oneness of Allah. So how could these foolish people can claim that this Quran or these ayat came to testify that Isa is one of three, or that he is a God? We have mentioned, as we said before, that Allah's word, it's the word that Allah used to make everything. When he says be, and it will be, which is kun in Arabic, which is the kaf and noon, which means be. Allah has ordered something to be, and it is become. Why Allah did not say that Adam is the word of Allah? Allah said that the example of Adam, Isa, is like Adam. Allah created from dust and made him, and he said be, and it be. Why, when Allah said, and if I made him and I blow from my spirit, he was blown from the spirit of Allah. Why he is not that he is the word of Allah, like Allah said in Isa alayhi salam? The answer that Adam, the creation of Adam, did not make this doubt that was done in the creation of Isa alayhi salam. In the creation of Isa, people are split into two parties. One who said that he is a God or son of God, and some who said that he is a son of adultery. Two different extremes. There is far from each other. So Allah Azza wa Jalla wants to stress and clarify that about this split, that Isa alayhi salam is the word of Allah, meaning that Allah told him be and he was, that Allah used that word that he make, and his order is like the blink of an eye. If he said something be, and it will be. The example of Isa, just like the example of Adam, he created from dust, he told him be and he was. So this is the truth from your Lord, don't be among the doubters. So there was no debate about the creation of Adam, but it was done. The doubt came in when the creation, the birth of Isa alayhi salam. So Allah wanted to clarify it, that's why Allah clarified it that way. But when Allah said that it is a spirit from him, we said, min, that does not mean it is part of Allah. It's not part of Allah. That means he started with Allah. That the creation started with Allah, because the creation did not happen not from the normal laws that Allah put in nature, but it was from the extra laws that Allah does for by himself as a miracle. In the Quran there is an ayah that is clear. Allah said, say if there is a son to the merciful, to the gracious, meaning to Allah, then I'm the first one who will worship him. So how could you understand that ayah? And there is two types of explanation. The first one is there is a son for the if there is a son to Allah, I will be the first one to worship Allah and worship everything that he tells us. And they say that the introduction, if the introduction is impossible, then the end is impossible. Because it's not that it happened, nor does it permit it. I'll give you an example. If nine is an even number, then it will accept division on 2. But it's not. It does not accept division on 2, and it's not an even number. It's an odd number. So when you say if 9 is an even number, that will be divided by 2. But it's not an even number. It's an odd number, and does not it cannot be divided into 2. And Allah said, if there is 2 lords, then it will be corrupted. There is no 2 gods. It's only one God, and no corruption in the creations. No chaos. It's not show the happen, nor that it's that's going to happen. May Allah guide us. Ameen. And they gave an example. The Sa'id ibn Jubair, in his debate with the Hajjaj, where the Hajjaj wanted to kill him, he said, I will replace you with a hellfire, I'm gonna put you in the fire here and the hereafter. He said, if I knew that you're capable to, I will not take a lord but you. He said, if I knew that, I will worship you by yourself. Like if you think you own my life and my hereafter, you enter people in the hell, I will worship you. But I know you're not. It's impossible that even that he worship him. But is this introduction to show a falsehood in there? The meaning in here that he deny him what he is saying, that his claim is false, that he cannot put him in the hellfire because the putting people in the hellfire is a matter to Allah the Almighty, not to anybody else. Ameen. People claim that the Quran came with indication to the Trinity and the impossible matter. And they said if 10 Christians they came to talk about Trinity, they will have 11 views, not 10. They will have more. And they claim that you have to just believe beyond what your belief or your sanity or what you think. Don't use your brain when you think about it, believe. So what did they say about Trinity and how Quran came with this? They said that the Quran and the Trinity comes from. They said Trinity in the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. They said in the name of Allah, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. These are three people. And they forgot that wow. And they said that wow is that's their claim. It can't, the Allah, the one who they claim that was on the cross, is not the same one in the heavens. That's their admission. We have different description but not different entity. Allah is the same one who is the gracious. He is the king. He is the peace. No. There's 99 names of Allah. That does not mean there's 99 gods. It's one entity. So there's difference between the difference in the character or objective and the difference in entity. There's different characters of Allah, different that He is the Allah, He is the merciful, He is the generous, and all the other attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. And you find it in so many places in the Quran. That does not mean there is that many gods. Otherwise, people will say that there is two gods for the. They said one for the light, one for the darkness. Or we have a group of gods everywhere. This is, of course, not accepted. The most strangest one that they claim that the evidence that the Quran talked about when Allah said we have Allah when He talks, we have given Him, we granted Him permission. We have descended the Quran. Allah sometimes when He talk, He says we. When Allah talked about and how ignorant they are on the language, on the Arabic language, that they claim that they belong to it, or they claim that they know, they understand it. This word, this type of talk, it's of greatness, not on numbers. Even in the when the kings talk, we the president of so and so, we the judge of this and this court or that. When people, the great people, always they talk about themselves in numbers, not in one, in plural. Allah said, read in the name of your Creator who created you. And Allah always talk about this in oneness, in same He said, I am Allah. There is no God but me, and worship me and establish the prayer for me. Allah said, say there is no God but Allah, the one. So this put in doubt is false. Even someone from the elementary school will be able to put this back at them. People who are ignorant, people who don't understand Arabic could come up with this stuff. But when looking at another ayah, that we need to understand it ourselves, because our understanding will be able to debate people. Because the Jews and Christians, they always try to talk about it, and some of the secular in the Arabs, they always use that. And I would even tell you, some of the people who are scholars, they use the wrong understanding to spread false understanding. What is this ayah? This ayah, when Allah said, those who believe, and those who are Christians, and the Christians and the Sabiin, who believed in Allah and the hereafter, and they did good deeds, they have their reward from Allah, and there is no fear for them, and they will not be saddened. It was repeated in Surah Al-Ma'idah also. Those who believe, and the Jews and the Christians, some who believed in Allah and the hereafter, and they did good deeds, they have their reward from Allah, and there is no fear on them, and they should not be sad. They said, the Jannah is not only for the Muslims. It needs two things: to believe in Allah and the hereafter. Every religion, if they believe in Allah and in the hereafter, خلاص, that's it, enter Jannah, no problem. And from those who are survived, and there is no fear for them, and they should not be sad, whether he believed Muhammad or did not believe Muhammad, or be Muslim or not Muslim. And unbelievable that a lot of scholars in one of the countries, he said that on front of people. And when somebody said, he said, Allah said in the religion, in Allah is Islam. He said, you are very sure of yourself? Now, if someone who is not a Muslim said it, I will understand that. But a Muslim say that? Was it that bad? Subhanallah. May Allah not turn us to non-believers after He made us Muslims. What is the story here? So we could. Allah said, all those who believe, and the Jews and Christians who believed in Allah and the hereafter and did good deeds, they have their reward from Allah, and there is no fear on them, and they should not be saddened. There is an answer that Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said. We'll talk about the details. He said, we tell them, there is no, it does not indicate what you are wishing for. There is no equality between the Jews, Christians, and the Sabi'in and the believers. You Jews, you claim that the Christians are disbelievers, and the Christians, they believe that the Jews are disbelievers. Why? Because they claim that they went from the Judaism to Isa, and the Christians, they said they did not believe in Isa, so they were not a disbeliever in their religion. So each one of them think that the other one is not on anything. The Jews said that the Christians are nothing in any principle, and both of them, they're claiming the falsehood on each other. So if both of them is claiming that the other party is void, is wrong, so if there is a compliment to their religion, but after Muhammad sallallahu, if it's talking about the Jews of today after Isa, also it has the Christians after Muhammad, and this is wrong on Muslims and your religion. So it's also said to the Jews who think that they are in the right religion, that the Christians, they make the Jews disbelievers.
وإن كان باطلا لازم بطلان.
So one of them is wrong.
لا انفكاك لك عن أحد من الوجهين الأحد.
So one of them is wrong. One of them is not there. So what is the meaning here of the ayah?
أن المؤمنين
It believes that those who believe in Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those who were
الذين اتبعوا موسى
followed Musa alayhi salam at the time of Musa alayhi salam,
الذين كانوا
and those who stayed on his religion before it was changed, and the Christians who followed Isa alayhi salam and they stayed on that religion before the change in that religion, and Sabi'in, and those who are the Hunafa of Ibrahim from the Arabs in the area who stayed on the religion of Ibrahim and Ishaq before it was changed. All of those are the ones that Allah complimented them in His book, and He said those who believed in Allah and hereafter. Why is this important? Because the Quran before that talked about the sins of the sons of Bani Israel and their disbelief. So they might think this is a general rule on all of them from the time they are done until the hereafter. No. The Quran did not want you to think that they are all the same. Those who believed in the religion, the true religion before it was changed, before it was manipulated and did good, these are good. These are, and those who believed in Isa alayhi salam before it was changed, these are also not equal to those who falsified their religion and followed thee. So we do not think that all the Jews or all Christians are disbelieving are on the hill, in the hell. No, they were Muslims. They were followers of Musa alayhi salam before his book At-Tawrah was changed and manipulated. And those who followed Isa alayhi salam, who believed in him and followed him before his religion, before that book is changed, they were Muslims and they were saved. This is what Quran said in Surah Al-Buruj. When talk about the murders of the Christians, when Allah said that they were punished because they believed in Allah, nothing for except that they believed in Allah and the hereafter. Those who tried or did wrong to the believers and did not repent, they have the torment in in this life and in the hereafter. And those who believed in Isa alayhi salam before his books, before the religion is manipulated, these are served. So we will not think that all Christians from beginning to the end is in the hellfire, that all Jews are on the hellfire. No, the Quran does not want you to think that way. They are not the same. From the people who recite Allah's and they prostrate to Allah. And this is important in here, that the people of the book who believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will give him double his reward, because he believed in Musa or Isa, and the other one because he believed in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they get double their reward at in the hereafter because of they were patient and they push the sin with a good deed, and they are not the same. Now the question is he from the people of the book after he believed? So he's not from the people, he's a Muslim, right? The answer in the Quran, because what he was, Allah said, give the orphans their money and test them until they reach the age of being married. So if they became that, they're not aitam. So because of what they used to not, and you see that a lot in the Quran, because of what is going to happen. Like the man who said, I'm going to make wine. The wine, you don't make it, it doesn't go through the process that the grapes go through, which is the mushing to make it wine. So when Allah addressed them as the people of the book, that does not mean Allah is talking about those who believed from the people of the book, if as a compliment to them from before that they became Muslims. So they will get double the reward. But we also, interesting thing here, it's not a joke, meaning it's interesting, something nice. Someone might say, but we realize, or we pay attention that the two ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Ma'idah, As-Sabi'in, came with the kasr with the structure of the language, and the Sheikh is talking about the grammar of this. But in Surah Al-Hajj, it comes in a different grammar. It might look different. Who believe in As-Sabi'un? How could, why is it As-Sabi'in in one part and the other Sabi'un? The difference in the Arabic language and the grammar, why is there a difference? And how we understand it? How? What is the wisdom in here? Why? When you look in the Book of Allah and you try to understand the wisdom about the words of Allah, and you enjoy the grammar of the Quran, the first indication here, this ayah, it shows who is first and who's come. That's who believe, and the Jews and the Christians, and Allah said the believers, the Christians and the Jews who believed in Allah and the hereafter, they will get their reward from Allah, and they will not be saddened or fearful of the day of judgment. And then Allah said was-sabi'un, meaning that as-sabi'un came after. Here, that those who believe, and the Christians, the Jews who believed in Allah, those who believed in Allah and the hereafter and did good deeds, they have the reward from Allah, and there is no fear on them. And the sabi'un also with them. This is how it's meant in that ayah. And this is like one of the beauty of the Arabic language, and the Sheikh is reciting a poetry that proves that. And the Sheikh is trying to explain the grammar in that part. So those who enjoy the Arabic language, they can understand the beauty of this change, this design that Allah put in this ayah. And someone said, and the Sheikh is talking about the grammar explanation in this difference. And what is very important, that all four groups, in those who believe in Allah in the hereafter, Allah Azza wa Jal, whether Allah put it this one first, this one later, it all makes the same way. I mean, so it's meaning the same thing, that they all, it doesn't matter how Allah put one before the other, that they all get their word from Allah Azza wa Jal, and they will not be saddened and will not be fearful at the day of judgment. The Sheikh is reciting this poetry,
وأنت بما عندنا وأنت بما عندك راض والأمر مختلف. أنت بما
showing a
عندك
different beauty of the Arabic language, where one, like you put one sentence after the other, where it indicates the same thing,
كان المعنى نحن
but the
بما
meaning
عندنا راض.
in all those ayat that Sheikh has recited is the same.
حتة نبوية حتة نبوية لكن يعني جميل أن تجتهد في فهمها لكي تتزود.
The Sheikh, he wants you to to see the beauty of the Arabic language, how it's different than other languages where there is an indication, and the difference between the different types of sentences. It brings you a big uh, understanding of this.
بالسياق اللغوي لوحده وقطع مظاهرها حقيقة
Ibn Ashur, in his book
يعني جاب كده لقطة لطيفة ليه
Why the Quran
عمل كده.
did this variety
يقول رحمه
in the
الله
sentence, he says,
إن الرفع فيستوقف القارئ عنده لماذا رفع هذا الاسم بالذات مع أن المألوف في مثل هذا موسى كما قال في رفع الصاد في رفع كلمة الصادقين إنما يناسب البلاغة في دخول الصادقين في وعده.
and he said that this Sheikh, that As-Sabi'un, those who believe in the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ishaq, Isaac, and they used to have their own book, and they had Ibrahim alayhi salam to be their prophet. A lot of people, like from the word, they think these are people who worship sons or something else, but no, it is people who believed in Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ishaq, because it is it's non-existent now. We don't see it because they think that they worship the planets. You might think they are strangers, and that's why Allah made the strange sentence that that strange statement that is strange from the normal of the Arabic language, because they are strange in being part of the beliefs in Allah. And Allah wants to say that His forgiveness is greater than anything, and it will include anyone who believes in Allah in the hereafter, if they follow the right religion, even if they worshipped whatever idols they had, no matter what type it is, whether it's a planet, sun, moon, or even a rat, or the private part of the human being. No matter what is the past of any person and how bad it is, if they believed in Allah Azza wa Jal after that and the hereafter, there should be no, and they did good, Allah will give them the reward, and they should not be fearful of the day of judgment, nor they should be saddened. And some people like to take only part of this ayah and not use the whole thing. They said to believe in Allah and the hereafter, and they don't want to continue. Nowadays, the YouTube is exposing everything in the video, and the Sheikh is criticizing the Sheikh who responded to the person who told him, how about when Allah said only religion that he accepts is Islam, and the Sheikh said, oh, you are very confident of yourself. That was a bad response. But what does it mean, believe in Allah? Meaning that you have to believe in Allah according to the way that Allah sent His messengers, that follow the messengers of Allah. Did someone who claims that Isa is the son of Maryam, that is a Lord, or that he is the son of a God, or he is a God by himself? No. Or those who said that Al-Uzair is a son of Allah? No. That's why Allah has made it a difference between them. And those who from the people of the book, when Allah talked about the disbelievers, He talked about the people who in the people of the book who do not follow the right path that Allah sent to them in their religion. Those who change their religion, the those who believe in Trinity, they might have belief in Allah, but it's not accepted. Allah said, "Find those who do not believe in Allah and the hereafter, and do not forbid what Allah has forbidden in His Messenger." So those who claim that they believe in Allah, it has to be according to the way that the messengers of Allah has said. Who claim that Allah is cried because uh, he flooded earth and killed everybody, and he kept crying, and the angels brought him some Pepsi or Coke to make him calm down. This is I added this part, but the idea that they claim that Allah Azza wa Jal has regretted that He killed humanity at the time of Noah, and he cried until his eyes got so bad, and he stayed in his bed sick, and the angels came to see him. This is not a Lord. This is not Allah. Or he regretted until his son bleeded. That's a human being, not a Lord. That's not Allah. And those who claim that on Allah, are these believers in Allah? No, these are not believers in Allah. And in the hereafter, according to the way that the Messenger of Allah said, those who claim that the hellfire will not touch them except for a few days, those who claim that the eternal sin in the hereafter for those who disbelieve in Allah. So whomever claims that they disbelieve in Allah, they will not stay except for a few days, did not believe in the hereafter, like Allah said in His according to His messengers. No, beyond that, and this is a beautiful thing that we need to understand. The belief in Allah and in the hereafter, in the Quran, it has a very special indication. We will see it in a minute. But I want you to understand, what does it mean in the hereafter? Either the day of judgment, from the people are resurrected until the eternity, or from the resurrection until people enter heaven or hellfire, and then eternity will happen. No, either one of them, this is the hereafter. The belief in the hereafter, you have to believe in the messengers of Allah. How did we know the hereafter? Isn't it through the messengers? Isn't it from the prophets of Allah? These are the ones who told us Allah Azza wa Jal will resurrect people. He will gather people in a day there's no doubt about. Who told us about the coming back in the hereafter, the resurrection day? Who told us about hellfire and heaven? Who told us about the details of the hereafter? It is the messenger of Allah. So you cannot believe in the hereafter except through believing in the messengers who indicated that. Why did Allah mention believe in Allah and the hereafter? Didn't mention the He talked about the principle and the hereafter and anything in between. He put the best principles to believe in Allah and in the hereafter, because this is the resurrection day. But let's look into a beautiful matter. The belief in Allah and the hereafter in the Quran, meaning to believe in everything in the religion. Look, Allah said, and the divorce, they stay 3 months and they cannot keep it secret what Allah put in their wombs if they believe in Allah and the hereafter. He didn't mention all the other parts of faith, meaning that these two, they indicate in believe in all the other part of the religion. When Allah said, "Oh, who you believe, do not void your charity by hurting people and making fun of them." as if somebody who did not believe in the Allah and the hereafter. And Allah said the adulterer and the adulteress, wab each one of them 100, and don't have mercy on them if you believe in Allah and the hereafter. So here Allah is talking about all parts of their faith in Allah. And when Ibrahim said, "Oh Allah, make this town a peaceful one and give their people the fruits from those who believe in Allah and the hereafter." So only two, but indicate about all parts of faith and religion. And Allah said, when you divorce a woman and they get their period, don't stop them from to marry their husband if they start to stay back in goodness. This is what your advice, and you believe in Allah and the hereafter. These two pillars indicate everything in the belief. And the Shaykh is citing more parts of the Quran that indicate the same meaning. So those two pillars, to believe in Allah and the hereafter, indicate all parts of the religion and faith. Allah did not mention all the other parts because these are enough. And the Shaykh is giving more examples from the Quran about believing in Allah and the hereafter. So every ayah the Shaykh mentioned that Allah only mentioned two things: to believe in Allah and the hereafter, because that indicate all parts of faith, all parts of the religion. So the language of the Quran, when indicate believe in Allah and the hereafter, meaning believe in all parts of the religion, Allah, His messengers, His angels, His books, and His messengers, and to believe in the destiny, good and bad. And all parts of that. And then Allah said, and He did a good deed. What does it mean, did good deed? It has one condition, that the faith. Just like you cannot make a salah without wudu, you cannot accept a worship without faith. Who did good and he is a believer, he should not fear being transgressed on. Because whomever comes and believe and he did the good, they have the great status. So the good deed, the first condition, it will be good deed only if there is the right faith. But the deeds of the disbelievers, Allah, He will bring that, and He made it void. He made it go away. Those who disbelieve, their example of their good deed is just like someone who had compiled a lot of sand, and then the big wind came in and took all the sand away. So there is no good deeds with Trinity. There is no good deeds with disbelief in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or disbelief in the Quran, or disbelief in Islam as a religion. Might be a good deed by itself, but it's not going to be accepted by Allah Azza wa Jal. It can't be accepted except with the right faith, with the right belief in Allah Azza wa Jal, and the right monotheism of Allah. Because Allah said, those who wish to to meet their Lord, let them do good deeds and do not have partners with their Lord and worship with their Lord anybody. Can they contemplate the Quran? If it was from someone else beside Allah, they will find a big difference in it. Inshallah, we'll continue. Inshallah, we'll continue on Monday.